Yo, what it do, Hustle Nation? It is 7 a.m. on Monday morning, so you know what time it is, man. It is time for the Cortez Hustle Show, live and direct here out of St. Louis, Missouri. And boy, do I have a special treat for you guys, man. If you are a coach, a consultant, if you are an entrepreneur in any space and you have programs and packages, you want to get your message out to the masses and make some money doing it, especially if you have a nice high ticket offer, then you want to stay tuned because I have a very, very special guest that's going to break down his client attraction formula. You do not want to miss this. I am telling you now. Do me a favor, as you guys are coming into the room, go ahead and comment in the chat where you're from. Also, drop the name of your business and or your brand for a free business shout out. Just do not post any links, but I definitely want to recognize all the entrepreneurs and give you a free shout out. And let me say this, man. I always ask you guys to do that because, listen, if you're not shouting you out, I don't know who is, man. And there's over 100,000 people following this page, so you never know who might want to connect with you based on you giving a short description of what it is that you do. My favorite example is, I want you to think about this. McDonald's is the most well-known brand in the world, but you can't turn on the TV and watch anything for more than 5 minutes and not see a McDonald's commercial. And nobody knows you, but you think you're overkilling if you post too much about your business. So make sure you shout yourself out. Let us know who you are, where you're tuning in from, especially if you're in a service-based business. You got to say where you're at. It does me no good to know who you are, what you do, if you have a service in Chicago and I'm in St. Louis. So let us know who you are, where you are, what you got going on, man. Like I said, I've got a very special guest who's going to help you turn up the heat and scale up your business. He has helped hundreds of clients scale businesses from 5 figures to 6 figures, from 6 figures to 7 figures, from 7 figures to 8 figures. So you want to plug in directly. Also, for those of you who are willing to share the show, if you smash that share button and then you come back and comment that you shared, then I'm going to be giving away a free vacation later tonight based on everybody who shared. Now, it's going to be random, and the way my machine picks the winner is based on the comment. So you got to share the stream. You got to come back and say that you shared the stream. And then tonight at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to come back and pick a winner for a free vacation. And when I come back on the other side of my disclaimer, I'm going to show you some of the vacation destinations that you're going to have the option to choose from. So let me run this disclaimer because I got to get to my guest because you guys are going to be thoroughly impressed with this brother. So keep it locked right here. The Cortez Hustle Show is a copyrighted production of iHustle Media Group. Any unauthorized use of the video, audio, captions, depictions of this show without express written consent of iHustle Media Group is strictly prohibited. iHustle Media Group, a better way to market.
And now back to the Cortez Hustle Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, man. So I see that Juliet says she shared already. Awesome. I appreciate that. So before I bring my guest on, let me just show you guys. You got to pay attention to this short video. It's just going to scroll through some destinations for you that you could choose from if you are lucky enough to win the vacation giveaway for today. But how do you enter to win? You have to share the stream to your page. Right? This is only for my Facebook viewers. YouTube, I'm going to come up with something for you guys. But for my Facebook guys, share the stream to your page. Come back and say shared in the comments. And tonight, I have a randomizer that's going to go through the comments, pick somebody who said shared. And guess what? I am going to go to your page and verify that you shared it, right? But once you shared it, then I've got a free vacation for you. So here are some of the destinations that you got to be able to choose from. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am your host, Cortez Hustle. Thank you guys. It looks like Israel has shared. It looks like Alonzo has also shared. So keep those shares coming, man. If you don't comment and share, you have no chance of winning. And I apologize to my podcast listeners. You didn't hear some of those destinations: Chicago, Orlando, Miami. When you watch via the Facebook live stream, then you have a chance to win a free vacation every episode. So without further ado, man, listen. I don't know about you, but I love this entrepreneurship thing. And the only thing that makes this entrepreneurship thing better for me is to get it working on autopilot where I have no concern about attracting clients. I have no concern about dealing with the right people who appreciate my service and willing to invest in themselves and use my services, take action, get the results that we desire for them to get, help them achieve their dreams. I achieve my dreams. It's a win-win-win for everybody. And I've got a guest on today who's going to show us exactly how to attract the right people to us, how to structure your offer, how to really, really build and scale a business from 5, 6, 7, even 8 figures. He is hailed as the king of client attraction. I've been following this brother for a while. This is the second time he's been on one of my shows. So without further ado, let me introduce to some and present to others my good buddy, Mr. Marquel Russell. How's it going, brother?
Man, life's good, Cortez, man. Life's good, man. I can't complain at all, man. How you?
I am well, man. Thank you so much, man, for giving us a little bit of your time. I know it's early on your end when you don't have to get up and you want to deal with the babies and get them off to school and get them all set up for virtual learning and all that, man. So I appreciate you taking time away from your family to come share some love with us and our audience. But before we go dive into what your client attraction formula is and all of that stuff, man, but tell everybody a little bit about your story. Who is Marquel Russell and where you come from and all that good stuff?
Yeah, man. So first off, I got to give it up to my guy, Cortez, man. So first I want to get back to you, bro. So number one, for having me on the platform. I never take it for granted for somebody inviting me on to share their platform with their audience. So definitely appreciate you for that, man. And everything that you're doing in the marketplace, just your consistency is like none other, right? To build what you've been able to build. It's amazing. So I definitely want to honor you, bro. Give you your flowers and acknowledge you for everything that you're building here, man, and all the value that you're putting out in the world. So that's that. So in terms of me, Marquel, so I'm Marquel Russell. I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. I've always been an entrepreneur. I love this entrepreneurship stuff, like Cortez said. I'm a entrepreneur supremacist, right? I believe, seriously, bro, entrepreneurs run the world. You know what I'm saying? People talking about it always tickles me when I hear like people saying, well, this president is going to bring more jobs and all this. Like, presidents don't bring jobs. Entrepreneurs create jobs. So
wait a minute. You're gonna have to run that one back. That's my little rewind sound. You got to run that one back. Presidents don't create. Who create the jobs, Marquel?
Entrepreneurs create jobs. Entrepreneurs create jobs. So the only way for a president or any kind of politician to bring more jobs is to create more funding opportunities and things of that nature for entrepreneurs, so they can create more jobs. You know what I'm saying? Because entrepreneurs is what creates the jobs. Make sense?
Gotcha.
So that's that. So like I said, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. My mom raised me and my 2 sisters by herself. I grew up in a drug-infested environment. The early part of my life, I was raised by my aunt, who was like really heavy on drugs. It's like 3rd grade. I moved in with my mom, my granddad, like my whole family. They sold drugs. So where I grew up is like, we had the candy lady where I'm from. I got the candy lady in St. Louis, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, we had a couple of different candy ladies, candy houses. So
exactly. So you know what I'm talking about. So we used to ask, like, can I get some money to go to the candy lady? And early it's like, we heard things like, well, I don't got the money don't grow on trees, all different type of stuff, right? And I could never figure out like how somebody could work all week, because people was always at work. And I'm like, how could they work all week? They don't got $1 for the candy lady. That never registered with me. But my cousins, I used to ask them for $1 or something to go to candy. They give me like a 5 or a 10. Right. I'm like, man, these brothers must be rich, because I feel like I'm rich at 5 or 10. So as I started paying attention, I saw that they actually sold drugs. So long story short, at first I started off like knocking on your door, asking, can I take your trash out? We started moving into neighborhoods where they had lawns, and I was like, hey, can I cut your grass? So I was that guy at a young age. Then I got into selling drugs. So I started selling drugs. I started with like selling the weed and stuff like that at school and things of that nature. And then when I got in 10th grade, I was driving to school and all that, and I got bored. So I dropped out in 10th grade, went full-time in the streets. That led me to obviously going, one thing led to another. I had my first son. I was locked up, and so my birthday was just the other day. Yes, it was yesterday. What's today? The 18th? It was the 16th. So on the 16th, I made a post, and I was like, exactly 17 years ago to the day, I was locked up. I turned 19. My first son who was just born. He was 36 days old, right? Just 17 years ago. So I was in jail, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna try this job thing. So I got out. My buddy got me a job at this place called Petro here on Bankhead in Atlanta, changing oil and tires. Now, if you know me, you know I'm like a 5'7", 180, 175. Like I'm changing tires. They bigger than me, right? Because I'm like, I want to do this job thing. I'm covered in
these not regular car tires. You changing truck tires, right?
18-wheeler tires, like not just truck tires. These 18-wheelers, right? These tires bigger than me, right? I'm covered in oil every day, and I'm used to like being fly. So I'm like, I'm covered in oil, so I couldn't do it. So I did it for like maybe a week or two. But the straw, the way they say the straw that broke the camel's back is I took my son to the fair off this check from Petro, and we couldn't do the stuff that I wanted to do at the fair. And I'm like, man, I just ain't used to living like this. So I was like, I'm gonna jump back in the streets, just get my money up, then I'm gonna get out. Of course, it's easier said than done. Right. So I jumped in, but I had a slightly different shift. So I said, okay, I'm gonna take the money that I'm getting in the streets, and I'm gonna start an entertainment company. So because I knew people who rapped, I knew people who did beats. I didn't rap or do beats. I could write, I could play around with it, but I never really wanted to be the guy, singing and rapping and all that. That was just never my thing. So I said, okay, I knew I always had vision. I always had some leadership. I always had some leadership and influence. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take some cats who rap. I'm gonna take some cats who do beats. I bought this storefront. I like rented out this storefront. We gutted the whole thing out. It used to be a hair salon. We gutted it all out, and we turned it into a studio. And I told my boy, I'm like, look, man, because he was running the studio from his crib, and I used to take my artists there to perform, but he stayed with his parents, so we could only be there at certain times. Bros like to smoke weed in the studio and all that, but we couldn't do none of that because he was at his crib. So I'm like, look, I'm gonna get this storefront, and some days we couldn't go if his dad was like in a bad mood. So I'm like, look, I'm gonna pay for the rent and all this. All I need you to do is bring your equipment up here, set it up. I just need you to be in place to run this stuff. Bro's gonna come through and perform the whole, record and all that. You handle that. So we worked that out. So we did that. It started going well. So I was doing like opening up for like Jeezy and all different type of stuff. And we used to always be in the club. Now, mind you, I wouldn't even know enough to be in the club at this point. But nobody. When I turned 21 in the club, the security guards, the managers, and everybody was like, chill. They just called me chill. They're like, chill. How old you turn? And I'm like, 21. And they're like, 21? You been coming through here like
for years. You just not 21.
You just not 21. And I'm like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they always is in the club. So one of my buddies, his cousin opened up another club, strip club here in Atlanta, called Dancers Elite. It's not there anymore now. But he was like, look, my cousin opened his club. He's managing it. He needs some promoters. And I'm like, well, I don't know about club promotion, but I'm never want to turn down opportunity. So I went, and he said, you get your own night. We're going to give you Tuesday or Thursday. And you can do whatever you want to do. And I'm like, all right. So I was like, I'm going to take Tuesday. And I think it was Thursday. And my label was called Get To It Enterprises. So I was like, we're going to call it Get To It. No, it was Tuesday. I'm like, we're going to call it Get To It Tuesdays. You can come through and perform as an independent artist. You pay us $25. We give it to a $250 cash prize. Some of these videos are still on YouTube. If you remind me, I'll send you some of them later. You can check it out. That's crazy. So I share. So we give away $250, and I'm finna, just how this whole story finna come full circle. It's gonna trip y'all out. So we give away $250, and because a lot of people in Atlanta was doing like open mic industry nights, but it was nowhere you can go and actually perform on stage with the strippers, right? So that was our differentiator, basically, right? So that went well. Now, while I'm in the club one night, I was going to a buddy of mine mixtape release party, and while I'm in the club, somebody walks up to me. He thought I was actually my bro, but he knew my face. I knew his face, but he was a little younger than me. So he came into me and he was like, "Hey man, they drinking, chilling. I'm in there by myself." And he was like, "Look, man, how many people got a cell phone?" And I was like, "Well, everybody I know got a cell phone." And he was like, well, what if every time they paid their bill, you got paid? And I was like, that'll be pretty dope. And he was like, well, my mentor is going to be in town this week, and they're doing some expansion in the area. They're millionaires, and they're looking for some other people who want to get some money. So I'm like, me being somebody who never turned the opportunity, I'm like, all right, bet. So we met up that Wednesday. I followed him out there to Riverdale, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes out. Watch the presentation. We pull up, house look nice, cars look nice, everything checking out. I took my bro with me. Mind you, I'm still like knee deep in the streets, like probably higher than knee deep. Like I got my bro with me, he got a strap on him, like we hit in the streets, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we pull up and the house look nice, cars outside, so everything checking out. We go in and they start talking about this new video phone technology. You know, imagine being in the room when Facebook and Google and, you know, these companies first started. I'm like, yeah, it'd have been dope. And it was like, this is that opportunity. And I'm like, wow. And it was like, all you gotta do is get two, and then they'll get two, and then they'll get two, and then they'll get two, and they'll get two, and they'll get two, and they'll get two. And before you know it, you'll be sipping pina coladas on the beaches of the world, wearing expensive suits, driving cars the company paid for, all them. Like, this is crazy. Nice. So I'm like, bet. $500 to get in. I'm like, that ain't nothing. I paid for me to get in and my bro to get in, but they was like, you got to have a card. And I'm like, I don't got no card. We just got cash. So a few days later,
I run a cash business enterprise.
Cash business. You know what I'm saying? No, I run a cash business, straight cash. So he took me to Walmart a few days later and was like, look, this is how you get a prepaid card. We got a prepaid card. I jumped in head first. Now, obviously, I started showing everybody. I know everybody in the city. But everybody was like, man, it's a pyramid scheme. You crazy. That ain't going to work. I heard of that before. It ain't going to. So I'm like, that's crazy. But I showed my mom, and she always been a hustler. And she was like, if you market it, it can work. So I'm like, all right, bet. So that was my little mustard seed. Now, I still shared it with everybody. It wasn't going well. I was kind of on the brink of like, I'm falling back. But these guys will still hit me up. The ones that recruited me will still hit me up trying to help me. And I wasn't used to like cats trying to help you get money like that, you know what I'm saying? And that's not normal where I'm from. So one of them gave me a laptop. That was my first introduction to like social media like that. Well, my business partner when I was doing club promotions, he had social media because he came from the college world, but I wasn't like posting and stuff like that because we just had a whole bunch of different stuff going on that it's crazy to post. So he gave me a laptop. He was like, this is how you do it on social media. He invited me to a conference, and you've been to one of these network marketing conferences before. When you go to those network marketing conferences, I don't know what happens at these things, but I came out this thing full speed ahead. I'm like, they could have got me, but ain't no way they could have got all these smart black folks. It's like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people there. They couldn't have got all these people. So I came out, I don't know what happened, 2 to 3 ranks, but it plateaued because I ain't had nobody to talk to. And they was telling me, hey, go to talk to people who come within 3 feet of you. I'm going to home on hotel parties. And I'm like, I did it, but it's like, that just don't fit with my DNA. Like, I don't talk to people who come within 3 feet of me because I'm like, I'm wired differently. We don't bring people to my house. I ain't finna bring my people to your house because it could end bad. So I'm like, I got to figure something out. So somebody on my team sent me a link that led me to this 4-part video series. Now, this kind of bring how this thing came full circle. It said, here's how you build a network marketing business without going to hotel parties, without going to home parties, without doing none of that. You attract people to you magnetically. And this was my first introduction to direct response marketing. So I read this sales letter about 10, 30, 40, 50 times maybe. I finally bought it. It was $40 for an ebook. Nice. Right? It's my first purchase ever online. I bought it, and of course, that took me down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole. And I just started consuming information because I was so fascinated by this stuff, and I had notebooks taller than me, but I wasn't implementing anything. And at this point, I had transitioned from the streets because I wanted to figure this whole thing out. So I went through all my savings, figuring this stuff out, and it wasn't until I bought this one course, and it came with a coaching call, and the brother told me, hey, look, man, just pick one thing. And the one thing for me was just content creation. So I started creating content. That's when I started building my brand. People started knowing who I was. I was just teaching what I was learning along the way, mainly focusing on network marketers. And then I started going to coaching business because people wanted me to coach them. I didn't even really know coaching was a thing until people started talking about it. Right. So I started teaching people that just paid me a little bit of money here and there, but I was still doing network marketing. And then I got out network marketing, came back into it when I did my econ. And I became the number one recruiter in my econ out of 50,000 people, all online. And from that point, I was still doing my own thing, but I was like, if I just went all in on my own thing, I could really do some damage. So I kind of transitioned and started doing my own thing, and growing our own consulting company, which became Client Attraction University now. And then now at this point, we've helped our clients generate over $100 million in revenue, generate millions of leads, thousands of clients, billions of ad impressions. I've been traveled as far as like London to speak, Toronto. This thing just kind of took off and just kind of took on a life of its own, man. So it's pretty crazy.
You said a couple things, man, that I think some of these elements people already have within them, but the second thing they might not have caught, and I think that's what's holding people back. You said, I've always been a person who had some leadership abilities, some influence, wanted to lead people down the right path. But then you always said you would never want to turn down an opportunity.
Right.
So because of that leadership, because of that influence, you had a couple opportunities, club night, your own night at the club. You never promoted before, but you said, hey, you went and made it work. Opportunity presented themselves in the network marketing space. You had never done that, but you never turned down an opportunity, leveraging your leadership and influence, made that work. Never purchased an online course. You got it. You start using your leadership and influence abilities, and you made that work. And now you've helped thousands of clients make hundreds of millions in revenue. Talk a little bit about mindset, bro, for those who basically are like you were at one point, learning, but not implementing, right? The paralysis of analysis, man. What is the mindset necessary to break through that for a lot of people?
I think the biggest thing is, like Jim Rohn says, it's all about your philosophy, right? So I think my philosophy that I had was knowledge is power. So that was the philosophy I heard. Knowledge is power, knowledge is power. But it's not. It's the apply. I had to change my philosophy. And the real philosophy is like applied knowledge is what's the power when you apply it. Knowledge is only potential power. Applied knowledge is where the power is. So now my philosophy is, for every hour, I tell people, like, for every hour you consume information, you should spend 2 to 3 hours implementing. So if you're watching this podcast right now, listen to this interview, wherever you're listening to it at, if you invest in 45 minutes to an hour, you should invest an hour or two implementing something you hear from this. Otherwise, it's just entertainment and you're just consuming. So it really is boiled down to my to shifting from just straight consumption to making sure I'm more heavy on the implementation piece. Does that make sense?
Yes, most definitely. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, smash that share button, come back and comment that you shared it, and then you'll have a chance to win a free vacation later tonight when you come back on the stream and we do our live vacation giveaway. So this, you are like me. I'm not the person, and I'm glad you mentioned that about the network marketing piece. So many people miss the boat with the network marketing piece. Two things. One, it's a real and legitimate industry, and you can really make a lot of money. One of the things that people struggle with is product creation. So a network marketing opportunity has a product. The other thing people struggle with is fulfillment. Well, guess what? The network marketing opportunity does that for you as well. So you just focus on the marketing. So a lot of people miss that. The other thing is having a business, and the tax advantages of that is a whole nother thing that people are missing, because taxes is eating people up financially. Yep. But like you, I'm not the person that goes out and talk to people unless I know they want to talk to me. So you now built this entire brand around client attraction, right? It's different when I'm knocking on doors, I'm approaching people, than when people approach me. How did you really discover that this is a powerful way to build and scale a business?
Yeah. So according to Forbes magazine says it's 534,000 businesses get started every month. 8 out of 10 of those businesses are dead within 18 months. And the biggest reason is because of lack of cash flow, and the lack of cash flow comes from a lack of the ability to get qualified leads into the door every day that convert into clients. So it's like, if you're always doing outbound, you know what I'm saying? If everything is like outbound push marketing, right? And so your business can't grow. If you only get clients from like passing out flyers, going out doing presentations, posting on social media, DMing people. I ain't saying I'm not cold email. I'm not saying anything is wrong with any of those things, but you want to have a situation where when you're traveling, you still got sales coming in. You still got clients coming in. If you got a consulting or coaching or service-based business model, you want to wake up in the morning and you got new appointments on your calendar from people who went through your automated system, because it's 4 layers of marketing. So you got, that's why they call it a funnel. You got the awareness layer, you got the engagement layer, and then you got the interest layer. Let me go back. We got the awareness layer, you got the interest layer, you got the engagement layer, and then you got the client on the bottom, right? So you want to have a process where people are going through this process on autopilot. So now they're coming out on the end without you ever having to touch them. So it's the only way to grow, because like I said, if it's all manual, you can only get so far in your business. You may be able to hustle to get to 6 figures, but you're going to burn yourself out most likely. But going from 6 to 7, you're going to kill yourself trying to do that same thing to get to the 7-figure mark and beyond.
Got you. So you said 4 levels: awareness, and so break those down a little bit. So awareness, right? That's the most people that's going to enter the funnel at the awareness level, right?
Exactly.
And then how do they matriculate through?
So you got the awareness, people becoming aware of you for the very first time. So some of you who never heard of me, most of you probably never heard of me before. So you're aware of me for the first time. Some of you are going to be like, okay, this is interesting. Some people were like, you was turned off. I was talking too fast. Or you like, this dude sound like he's from the street. So he got goals or tats. He doesn't really look the part. So you jumped off, and that's fine. Right. But some people, they're leaning in, they're like, okay, this sounds interesting. Right. And then some of those are like, let me go over and check out his page, or let me go check out his Instagram, or let me go jump into some of his free stuff, or register for his upcoming event or something like that. So you engage at some level, whether it's something free, whether it's watching content or whatever. So you engage, and through that process, some of you end up becoming clients. And that's the same thing, in every business.
Right. And you really specialize in automating that process, right? Yep. Because I heard you say that there's nothing wrong with a funnel. But you need a whole complete system for client attraction, acquisition, closing, and the whole 9 yards, right?
Exactly.
Okay, good. And I love that, because it is most people, the people that I serve, right, are people who are still working jobs and they're trying to escape the rat race. And you're not building a business that's going to ultimately replace your job income if you don't have automation. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Because like, let's say, for example, if you work in a job, right? So let's say you work a job from 9 to 5. You get off at 5. By the time you get home and all that, it's about 6. You get the family situated, get the kids to bed, and then you work your business from 8 to 12, or for example, right? You ideally, you don't want to spend that 8 to 12 like doing outbound reach. Right. Our ideal situation would be from 8 to 10. You got your calendar filled with people you can call who've applied to work with you. So now doing that 8 to 10, you're focused on like sales. While you was at work from 9 to 5, you had your ads running, you had all your marketing running. So now people are going through your process while you were at work doing your other thing, right? You get home, you get the kids situated, people are still going through your system. Now from 8 to 10, 8 to 11 or whatever, you had people who actually applied for, or if you got a coaching or consulting business, or if you got a product-based business, of course, people are buying your stuff. But if you like speaking to people, selling them something high ticket, from 8 to 10, 8 to 11, 8 to 12, you got people you're having a conversation with, and now you sell something for 3,000 to 10,000 or whatever your program is. You sell one of those during these times. Now you're easily, slowly but surely, replacing your job income.
That job income. I love it, man. That automation is the key to avoiding burnout. It's the key to what I struggle with, brother, is finding balance, right? Because if you have to hustle 24/7, where's the time for the family? I became a full-time entrepreneur because I wanted time with my family, but I don't have these systems in place. So I found myself sitting in front of the laptop 18 hours a day trying to make some stuff happen, right? Because if you don't kill, you don't eat. So you really have to implement strategies, processes, programs. So on the other side of this station identifier, Marquel is going to break down the psychology of selling high ticket items, because this is, and you're going to be able to help me with this, brother, because my natural nature, right? I am the personality type that just loves helping people, right? So I've got to overcome that to really be able to learn how to properly price my results that I can help people get. So on the other side of this break, y'all keep it locked right here. Don't forget, share the show, man, because when you come back and you comment, share, you're going to have a chance to win a free vacation. So we're just going to do a quick station identifier, and we'll be right back.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Marquel is the king of client attraction. And I've used this in my network marketing business where I attract people to me, Marquel. And it is a different conversation when somebody calls me versus when I call them, right? Mm-hmm. But now let's move into what you like to really help people with is high ticket sales, right? I heard you on the Social Proof podcast. Shout out to David. He does some phenomenal work over there. And you were talking about something that you learned from Myron, and I'm assuming Myron Golden, that it's easier to make a lot of money in a little bit of time than it is to make a little bit of money over a long period of time. Break that down for my audience, please.
Yeah, basically, so it's easy to make a lot of money in a little bit of time than it is to make a little bit of money in a lot of time. So let me break it down. So it's easier to make $30,000 in a month than it is to make $30,000 in a year. It's easier to make $30,000 in a month than it is to make $30,000 in a year. It's also easier to make $30,000 in a week than it is to make $30,000 in a month. It's easy to make $30,000 in a week than it is to make $30,000 in a month. It's also easy to make $30,000 in a day than it is to make $30,000 in a week. It's easier to make $30,000 in a day than it is to make $30,000 in a week. And it's easier to make $30,000 in an hour than it is to make $30,000 in a day. It's easier to make $30,000 in an hour than it is to make $30,000 in a day.
That's crazy, man. And when I heard you talk about that for the first time and you guys broke it down, think about what you have to do if you're making $30,000 in a year. You're working 40 plus hours a week, you fighting traffic, and yeah, that's hard, man. So let's get to the psychology of, or help me break down the thought process of, I struggle with saying, hey, I know my product has a $5,000, $10,000 value, but because I just want to help everybody, I want to make it affordable for everybody. How can you help people like me, bro?
So here's the thing. By charging premium prices, you do people a favor. Here's why. Because now they really have enough skin in the game to be serious. So for example, if somebody pay you, let's say $500 for your coaching for 6 weeks or whatever, to them it's like, well, it was just $500. But if they pay you, or $50, let's say they probably just charge you $50 for your course, $50 to $500, most people won't even ever log in. They won't even log in to access the portal. If you pay them, if they pay you $5,000, now are some people still going to go by the wayside and you won't hear from? Of course, that's just human psychology. That's human. That's just humans, right? However, you're going to have a larger amount of people commit to get results. So I'm gonna give you an example. So a few years ago, we had this program called Infinite Success University, ISU. We started off, it was $9.97 a month, but it wasn't enough skin in the game for nobody to do anything. Then we went up $97 a month. Same thing happened. When we start getting more to the premium price range, that's when we really start creating crazy amounts of success stories, because now you're going to attract a higher quality client. You're going to attract people who are more committed. And you can actually go all in to help them get results. You can actually hire more, so you got a team to help support them. You can actually just go all in, because now it's not like a volume play. Let's say, for example, you got a $5,000 offer. You only got to get 200 clients for the entire year to make $1 million. Right? So now imagine if you just went all in, just serving those clients at a really high level, making sure they're getting amazing outcomes, versus trying to serve 20,000 people, and the majority of them aren't going to really do anything anyway.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
It makes a tremendous amount of sense, because if they don't have skin in the game, like you said, they're not showing up. And if they're not showing up, they're not getting any results. And guess who they're going to blame when they don't get any results?
They're going to blame you.
Even though they didn't show up.
100%. 100%, bro. 100%.
Yeah, and that basically ruins your name in the marketplace and the whole 9 yards, man.
And they
So
want
I'm
everything.
starting to get it.
And the people who and here's the thing: the people that charge the people who pay the least want the most. I've had and the people who pay you the most, you have clients, bro, pay you 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. I'd have had a client, I think our biggest client was 50 grand, right? They always are the least maintenance. They're not calling you all times of night. They're not expecting you to hit them back right immediately, right? But if somebody pay you $9 a month, they want you to hop on the phone with them. You know what I'm saying? They want a one-on-one. They want you to build it for them. You like, my God.
Man. Yeah. I experienced all of that stuff, Marquel. All of that stuff right now.
I know. I'm telling you. I know. I've been there. Trust me. I know. It's like, my God. And like, I'm like you, man. I want to help people, so I'm willing to go the extra mile. But a lot of times, people don't show up for themselves.
Right. Yeah.
But if they got the skin in the game, they're gonna show up. They're gonna do the work for the most part, and you're gonna get amazing success stories in the process.
Gotcha. So when you're working with clients, what you said what your biggest your biggest deal was in terms of someone paying you for coaching, but what was it like when you made that first transition to that first sales? Like, okay, I'm done with the racing to the bottom in terms of keeping my prices low that everybody can afford. I'm going premium. What was your first premium package, and what was that first sale like for you?
So I would say my first premium offer was I think it was 7,000, right? And so it was $7,000, and then the crazy thing was like, well, it might have been 5. I think it was 7. So the crazy thing was like I had the script, and I literally just read the script like verbatim, and then they end up buying, and I was like, it is on now. I was like, it is on. I was like, this is crazy.
Right. And no hesitation, just like, oh, $7,000 is what it is. All right, man, let's do it.
I was like, it's on.
And I would tell you, I would be nervous as all get out, getting to that point. So what's the different philosophy or methodology used to take someone through that sales process and getting to, you even asking them for or letting them know that, hey, I'm sure you're not just putting out a video saying, hey, come join my program, it's $10,000. What's the sales process for creating these high ticket closes?
Yeah. So basically, the sales and marketing process is like golf. You play golf, Cortez?
I do not.
So like golf is like, so even I'm not a golfer, but we understand. So you start off in golf with a club, with the driver, right?
Yeah.
The goal of the driver is to get the ball as close to the hole as possible. Now, when you come out with your putter, you can just put it in, and it goes right in the hole. So it's the same thing with marketing and sales. Your driver, right, is your marketing. So the goal of the marketing is to get the ball. The ball is the prospect. The goal is to get the prospect as close to the hole being the sale, as possible. So now when it comes to the sales conversation, you're not really selling them. You can just put it in. You're just kind of enrolling them. So on these calls, when it comes down to the enrollment conversation, they're selling you on why you should allow them to buy versus you selling them on why they should buy. So on these calls, I'm going to say it again. They're selling you on why you should allow them to buy versus you selling them on why they should buy, because you're the one with the prize, right? They have the problem. You have the solution. So it's like you go in and you're figuring out, okay, here's where you are, right? Here's where you want to go. So your current reality and your preferred reality. And in between, you got this transformation gap. That's the gap that's stopping you from getting there. And then you show them the gap and you're like, well, hey, based on what I'm hearing, this is what you need. Here's what you feel like you're missing. I definitely can help you with that. If you believe you can help them. Now, if you don't believe you can help them, of course, you make some other recommendations. But if you believe you can help them, you say, okay, well, I definitely can help you. Would you like me to tell you how we can help? And they're like, well, yeah. And you tell them about your program and they're like, all right, well, how much is it? And then you kind of go through the investment process and then and then you figure out the logistics in terms of like how you're going to accept payment if they're ready at that point. But the reality is, it's probably easier to sell something for five. I'm gonna say it takes just as much effort, if not less, to sell something for 5,000 as it does to sell something for 500.
Wow, that's important, man. I think a lot of us miss that, who generally want to help people, and turns out we're not helping them at all.
Nope.
Because we're really letting them off the hook, because in order for you to get the help that you really need, you have to invest. And for us to not have the products priced correctly for the results that we want to get them, we're letting them off the hook. You also said something, and I love how you do this with integrity, right? If it turns out I can't help this person, I can't take the money. I got to make some other recommendations. Unpack that a little bit more, because I think that is something that's huge in the client coaching consulting space. A lot of people get into this space as a money grab, more so to actually help people.
Great point. So basically, I always tell my clients, it's like, look, we're not going into the call, because like most people say, all right, yeah, you go into assume the sale. Most traditional sales training, they say you got to assume the sale. Well, in reality, the way I teach it, where we teach it is, we're not going into this call to make a sale. We're going into the call simply to diagnose this person, to see if it's a good fit, right? And then if it's a good fit, we make them an offer. If it's not a good fit, we don't make them an offer, and then we make some other recommendations. But we're simply going in to diagnose the situation and help this person make the best decision for them, not the best decision for us. Like, what's the best decision for them? The best decision for them might not be working with us, right? The best decision might be, doing this or doing that, or, fixing some other stuff. So that's really what we're trying to figure out, because we only want to bring on clients who we're 120% confident we can help win, because if we don't help you win, then we lose, right? Because our whole North Star is based on client success. So it's like, if we can't help you win, here's the thing. So it's not like a pushy sales call, nothing like that. We're simply saying, all right, can we help you? Because think about it. We use a thing called the doctor friend. Think about it. If you go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes you something, right, without the proper diagnosis, that's malpractice.
Right.
So it's the same thing in our world. If you can't go in already prescribing somebody your program or your offer, and you haven't properly diagnosed them, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's amazing, man. And I love that approach, because again, that, like you said, it hurts your brand to go in and pitch somebody something that you already plan to pitch them, no matter what.
No matter what, right? You don't know the situation. Like, if we on the phone with somebody and they're like, look, I can do it. However, if I pay this, I ain't gonna be able to pay my mortgage tomorrow, and I don't know what my kid is gonna do. I'm like, well, some people will take that money.
Right.
But I'm like, look, this probably ain't the best opportunity for you right now. Because I don't want you to have that type of pressure on you.
Yeah.
And I don't want that type of pressure on me.
Right.
So it's like, let's not do it in full, or let's just not do it at all, or something like that. You feel what I'm saying? So you got to just figure out, like, what's in integrity, because I like to sleep good at night.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even when I was in the streets, I wasn't a person who was known for doing bad business. So it's the same thing. That's why I can still go. I'm still living in the same city. I still can go to the same hoods. I can still go out and move around and not have to worry about no nonsense, because I didn't do bad business in the streets, and I don't do bad business now. So it's like, you got to move like that in integrity, like in all ways. And it's like, all right, this maybe not be a good fit, and that's fine. I just want to see if it is. And if that's why people reach out to me and be like, hey man, how much is it to work? Which I'm like, well, the first thing we got to do is like have a conversation to like see if we can help you, because if not, how much it costs is like irrelevant anyway.
Yeah. And I think that it also has a lot to do with not having enough leads in the first place, right? Now you get desperate, and now you're trying to close every sale because you don't have enough leads, because you don't have a client attraction process, right?
Bingo.
I love it.
And that's another reason people undercharge, because people undercharge because they don't have, they're in lead poverty. They don't got a lead abundance. So they're like, when I do get a lead, I gotta charge them something affordable because I need to make this sale because I don't know where my next lead is going to come from. But when you're booked for the week, you're like, you got it to a point where you like, I can't take on all these people, so I got to increase the price.
Gotcha. Love simple supply and demand. I love it, brother. I love it. You talk a lot about ads, and I got the link in the comments, guys, for Marquel's free book on Facebook ads. Talk about the power of using paid ad methods. I've always been an organic guy. I love creating content. I love having conversations like this, and that leads to leads and sales. But when you do paid advertising, the ability for you to target exactly the prospect you're looking for is off the charts, man. Talk about the importance of targeting through ads to scale a business.
Yeah, so I think I think content is great because I do a lot of content as well. So I think content is great, and I think when you add on paid ads, it helps skyrocket your content. It helps get you more views. It helps take your content, and it helps your ads convert better as well. The beautiful thing about ads is that you can scale the business faster because you can get an unlimited amount of leads. The only thing about content, you can't really scale it because you can only do so many live streams. You can only upload so many videos. You can only, put out so many podcast episodes, right? And that's all great to do. However, you can get an unlimited amount of leads every single day. You can get 500,000, however many leads you want, depending on based on your ad budget, and you can scale that at whatever rate on a consistent day-to-day basis. So I think it's super powerful to really like add gasoline to what you're already doing.
Awesome. I love it. So you got a free book on Facebook ad Playbook, paid ad Playbook. Talk a little bit about what they can expect. Guys, the link is in the comments for you to grab the paid ad Playbook. Talk a little bit about what they can expect when they go and grab that.
Yeah, so the paid ad Playbook is, so it basically breaks down how to get 50 to 100 leads every single day that actually convert into clients. So not just leads, but leads that actually convert into high ticket clients. And it's been proven to like we've proven it with like over 1,000 businesses. I know on the page it says 446 plus businesses, but we've proven it like over 1,000 businesses right now, and it just works like crazy. So it's literally the whole checklist. It's only a few pages. So it's like if you want a checklist where you can actually launch profitable ad campaigns, and you want some bonus videos, because we got some bonus videos on how to scale your business to 7 figures, how to get 20 to 30 clients per day, and a lot of other cool stuff. All that's 100% free, but it's basically a checklist. You can print it out, sit it on your desk. When you launch an ad campaign, you go through it like, all right, checklist. I got that. I got this. I got that. And it just breaks it down literally step by step.
Love it. And you guys also have an event coming up here end of the month, man. Talk about that rapid business growth blueprint. And it's virtual this time. Is your first time having to go virtual with it because of COVID?
This is our second time doing it virtual.
Okay. And what can they expect? And tell me real quick, what did you learn the first time having to go virtual versus live?
Man, the crazy thing is like virtually, I think because we do our 3-day event virtually now as well. But I think that the community and how we engage it, people still feel like they're still there live, which is really cool, right? And it just eliminates any barriers why you can't be there. So now you can come. You don't gotta pay for a flight. You don't gotta pay for a hotel, your food, and be away from your family and all that for like long periods of time. You can literally just hop on your laptop, lock yourself in your office or a hotel room or whatever, and then just lock in. So it eliminates all the barriers. So now people can actually show up. And the reason we start doing them because we're not the best fit for everybody, and most people aren't at a place where they're ready to work with us just yet. So we want to say, okay, how can we still serve individuals who may not be a fit, or they may be a fit, but they may just not be ready for that level of commitment just yet. So we said, okay, they can still come in, they can still get the goods, they can still get the entire blueprint, and we can be there to answer their questions and coach them through the process and guide them, even if they're not ready to accelerate. Or this will help them get to the point where they are ready, when they are ready. So we want this is just another way where it's like no barriers. It's like the investment is a joke to actually attend the event. It's like It's laughable because people like, are you really giving us all this for this? But it's really laughable. But we really just want to put another way to actually serve, in a big way, without people having any financial barriers, time barriers, or any of that type of stuff that can hold them back.
Love it. And the date for that?
The date is October 31st.
Gotcha.
Because on Halloween, it's early. It's early during the day, so we get it out the way, and then you can still go trick or treating with the kids and all that good stuff. That's the thing, right?
Right. Because that's important, man. People want to know, hey, you doing something on Halloween, you cannot mess up the kids trick or treat, man.
Yeah, it's early. It's early. So you be good. You go and get it in, and you'll still have more than enough time to go trick or treating. Because we start like 9 in the morning, we go a few hours, and the kids probably won't even be up yet by the time we're done.
Gotcha. You made another interesting video just the other day, and you were talking about the person that's ready to go to the next level. The income is now starting to supersede expectations, and now people are starting to be ready to build a team. You talked about the two most important hires that a solopreneur needs to make when they start developing their team. Can you share your thoughts with us on that?
No, for sure. I think the two most important hires is, number one is a executive assistant, because if you're going to grow, you're going to build a business, because it's a difference in being a business owner and being an entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to be at a point where you're in the business owner quadrant. So now this business runs with minimal, if any, of your effort. So you want to have an executive assistant who takes a lot of stuff off your plate, and they help protect your time, they help protect your calendar, and now you're not doing a lot of the mundane stuff that you don't necessarily have to do, and you can only do like your zone of genius, right? So like for me, in our company, mine is like creating content, doing interviews, getting on stages, that type of thing, right? I don't have to do any other stuff for the most part, and I am working with our clients from a high level strategy standpoint. So that's my thing. All the other stuff, it runs because we got a team and we got the situation to do that. But you want to start removing yourself, starting with an executive assistant. And then one of the things is I'm getting a CPA from my money. When you start making some money, you most likely don't want to have your auntie who was doing your taxes. No shade to auntie, right? Auntie Maddie, right? Unless she's a CPA. But if this is like your person, like you don't want to be still going to H&R Block and you making $250,000, $500,000 a year, $1 million a year. You know what I'm saying? You want like a CPA who understands your model, who understands specific things, so you can, pay the least amount of taxes legally, right? So you want to have the right person on your team. And some people say, well, that's going to cost a little bit. I can learn how to do bookkeeping and I can learn to do that. Yeah, but as a business owner, that's not the best use of your time. Filing your own taxes, doing your own bookkeeping, that's not the best. And you're like, well, I'm not at 7 figures yet. Well, maybe not, but you got to start operating in that way now. Otherwise, you'll never get there.
Yeah. And I've got a coach who's constantly on me like, dude, why are you still doing that particular activity? Right? Mm-hmm. You should have somebody that you're paying who would love to do that all day. That's just what they love to do. So you hire somebody to do that. And like you said, it frees me to really get down with the business of the genius of what I do, man. So I absolutely love that. A good accountant, CPA, bookkeeper, and get you a good assistant to, I think one of the most important things you said, help protect your time, right? Because you also get to a place where as your business starts growing, especially if you're doing it via social media and you're using these platforms, then a lot of people getting to know you. So they want to pull at you at a lot of different things. And you're saying, hey, nope, talk to my assistant. She got the calendar on lock. She'll let you know if we can or if we can't.
Exactly. 100%.
Love it, brother. We are rapidly approaching the top of the hour, man. Anything else you want to share with our people that we did not cover?
I would say, so I think the biggest thing is I think we got to be very cautious of this thing called the collective consciousness. And I'm going to explain what that means. Collective consciousness is like groupthink, right? So independent thought is like a unicorn. Yeah. And when people have an independent thought, most people lash out because it's not the group thing. I'm gonna give you an example. When COVID hit, a lot of people said, when people start posting on social media, we just gonna cancel 2020, right? Everybody started saying it. Meanwhile, everybody I know winning. It's like it's more people making more money, having more success, having more time with their family because of everything, right? But we're so focused on the group think and what everybody else is saying that we don't even realize, dang, I got more time with my kids. Making more money. It's more money in circulation. Like the U.S. government, they like just threw like $3 trillion into the economy. They just printed it. You see them? That money already printed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get you some of it. It's already printed. Like, it's crazy.
Just go get it.
We've had our biggest months. Our clients have had their biggest months during this time. So when it happened, we had our strategic planning call, and my assistant was like, well, Marquel, are we doing anything different with everything that's going on with COVID? I'm like, no, we're not doing anything different. We're just going to smash the gas on that. Everybody was turning off their ads. Everybody was panicking. We turning up ads because cost was going down because everybody was leaving the platform. This is before the election, all that. We turning up ads. We turn up everything. And like we've had some of the biggest impact during this time. So I'm saying beware when everybody is scared, that's when you be aggressive and you lean in and just be very, very conscious of when you're allowing to go in and be clear on your vision. And that's the biggest thing. Like have that vision down, have that thing wrote down, look at that thing every day. So no matter what's happening, you're clear on that vision. And even if you get off a little track a little bit, right? Because it will happen. On those bad days, you look back at that vision and that'll keep you going. And that'll keep you from being distracted by all these other naysayers and all this other stuff that's going on. And you can kind of hit this thing full steam ahead. So that's what I got.
Love it, love it, love it, man. Be wary of the collective consciousness, group think. Stop repeating everything because everybody else is repeating it, because that stuff does get planted in your spirit.
Yep.
And you start believing it and it becomes a stronghold, and it becomes hard to pull yourself away from that. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to and learning from Mr. Marquel Russell, king of client attraction, here on the Cortez Hustle Show. I appreciate you guys all. Remember, if you have not already hit the share button, in order to enter to win tonight's contest, you have to both share, then come back and comment that you shared, because the only way our randomizer picks the winner is based on people who comment shared on this stream. And if that is you, you got a chance to win free vacation tonight to one of several different destinations. And you got to be present to win tonight. So you got to come back tonight to the free drawing and see us do that live right here on the platform. So appreciate each and every single one of you guys tuning in. Until next time, we want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. So hustle up.